Welcome back to TiffDoesLoans podcast here at the Ifinance studio. So today I have Realtor Adam Ames. He is with Douglas Elliman Real Estate. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you today, Tiffany?
I am so good. Thank you, Adam, so much for coming in today. Me and Adam met at an event not too long ago, also in Long Beach. Got to talking, and yeah, I just love your story. Kind of, he is also in multiple markets, kind of still Beverly Hills, but also expanding more like in his own backyard in Long Beach. So definitely like a broad,
His broad.
Yeah, like more like able to help more people get into different markets. So love that. Adam, why don't you just start by telling us how you got started into real estate, kind of how long you've been doing it, and, maybe even how you got started with Douglas Elliman.
Yeah. So my journey in real estate began with an unsuccessful venture in the spirits industry. Me and a few friends co-founded a vodka company together.
Would we know the name?
Possibly it was called Boudoir. Yeah, and so we had some distribution here in California, but our main distribution was in New York City and Washington State, and we were working on getting into Florida when kind of called it quits. We were distilled from Napa Valley and Sonoma County wine grapes, which was really cool. Yeah. We contracted a distillery up there, and then our bottles were made in Italy. Long story short, even though it was unsuccessful, I learned a lot about business. Yeah. And my mom had always told me I should be a real estate agent since I graduated high school. So I decided to take that route, and here I am 7 years later.
Awesome. And then, so did you start that company with like a couple of other people, right?
Friends, yeah, a couple of friends.
That is Boudoir. I don't think I've ever, I don't know.
So it hasn't been around
I used to work
since
in the bar.
2013, too.
At that time, I was living in Vegas, so I didn't really know much what was kind of going on anywhere outside of that bubble. Like once you live there, it's like I didn't really see beyond.
So we had two bars on the Strip that did carry us.
Oh wow!
Yes. Yeah. And then we sponsored a couple of events in Vegas during the time that we were operating as well. But it was a small batch sort of situation. And it was a lot of fun, and it was good for when you're in your 20s.
Yeah, I do love that. And like you said, like you learned a lot, kind of got that business, that entrepreneur mentality, I'm sure, because it's definitely a mindset,
Definitely a mindset, absolutely.
A lot of ups and downs, and you got to hold on to that vision. Yeah. So was Douglas Elliman your first?
No.
Have you been there the whole time?
So Douglas Elliman doesn't usually bring on new agents. Okay. So I didn't join Douglas Elliman until I believe my third year in the business, third or fourth year in the business. But it is a wonderful company. Yeah. It's definitely a place to aspire to be.
I love that.
Yeah.
And like more like team, do you feel like you have that team, like that whole family kind of team vibe?
Absolutely. At Douglas Elliman, they do morning calls. Everything's about mentality and really focusing on the challenges that agents are being presented every day. I was on an hour-long Zoom call this morning. They have 2 or 3 every single day with the main people at the company, and they really, really focus on keeping you prepared for today's market.
Love that. And it's so like it has been a challenging market, and I have seen, the companies that have leaned into that. I mean, even my brokerage, like we've kind of built this more of like a family mentality. We even have a group chat now that everyone's like giving, like good big quotes and mindset and
Yeah.
everything in the morning to really make it like a union and really push through and give us the tools. But I feel like in this market, the brokerages that are really making it have really picked up that culture and ran with it. Yes. And you really need it right now. And I try to always kind of tie that into the clients, like, look at who you're working with, make sure that they have that support behind them, that team that is keeping, especially right now, we need all the tools we can get,
Yes. And some seasons are for planting seeds, and then some seasons are for harvesting, and you can't harvest on every season.
23, 23 was seed planting.
So yes, it was
23. I mean, but I definitely did. Yeah. So Phil, I always say
this year is moving again.
Yep.
Yes. But last year, the people that stayed in the business leaned in, didn't drop out, and chose to plant seeds and build relationships all year. And that's how you survive.
Yep, 100%. That's what I always say. Like, they're like, because, I'm a loan officer. So when I tell people I'm a loan officer, especially last year, they're like, oh, like, how are you? Like, how are you doing? And my response is always the same. I was like, hey, it's good, but I've been planting my seeds and filling my tool belt.
Yes,
That's it.
Absolutely.
Like, just run with it. So what?
I think it's the same for agents right now,
yes,
too. Everybody in the industry.
And I love, a lot, I feel like it's important, too, to collab and talk and get information and work together. And I feel like 23 really, because we all are independent. Yes. Even in our brokerages, we're still independent, but I think last year definitely kicked that gear up to, even though we're independent, we're a team, We're a team, yes. And everybody really grasped onto that. I've been seeing it more and more, like we're going to work together. We're going to figure this out together, even though that, everyone still is getting paid themselves and, what have you. But I definitely saw that. And I'm happy for that. I think that was amazing.
You either leaned in or dropped out. Yeah. That's what happened last year.
I leaned in. Right? I drank the Kool-Aid a long time ago. So I'm in it for the long haul. I've just expanded, I'm like, okay, well, how am I going to add value? So, here we are. And I'm like, I can educate. So I can educate and connect. So that's where
this podcast is great.
Yeah. So that's where I kind of leaned in. But that's, I think everyone last year really had to ask themselves, how it's tricky. Like, there's not, the phones aren't blowing up right now. So it's like, how are you going to stand out and add value? That's true. to potential referral partners and potential clients.
Yes.
You can't show them how great you are because, you're not going to have testimonial. You're not going to have clear to close and all these things going up on your social media back to back as if you had a steady flow.
I will say, though, this year, although everybody is taking time to strategize and plan, my phone has been ringing off the hook.
This year.
2024.
Same.
Just nonstop. I get calls all day. My phone is always dead. Because I'm always on it.
You better have a charger on you at all times.
I know, exactly. You have to have a charger on you at all times. But the phone has been ringing off the hook. And I've leaned into planning, patience, and then acting fast when the time is right.
Love that.
Like recently, or not so recently, our most recent listing is we've been planning it since October of 23. So we've been working with the client since October of 23.
Yep.
We literally did our first open house 2 weeks ago, and we had an all cash offer at over asking within 7 days of our first open house. With all that planning, when clients come to you and they give you that much time to plan, 5-6 months, it's really easy to position their property to sell fast still in this market. One thing is that in the market that this listing is in, the average days on market is over 109 days on average for homes in this market. And we were able to get the house in escrow within 7 days.
Wow.
But it's all about strategic planning and
Yep.
being patient with the clients, because I've noticed that my clients, they've been doing a lot more planning. So we have listings planned all the way until December. Now, for different reasons, clients don't want to list right away. So we take the time to plan months in ahead.
But already
ahead
have
with them.
it ready.
Yeah, and have it ready to go.
What are some reasons that you see that they're kind of not wanting, like, are they waiting for summer? Like, what's the main motivator right now to kind of wait till December? Like,
the only type of clients that are really buying and selling right now are clients that have to.
Oh, okay.
So there's usually a reason why they're going to be buying
Yep.
or selling. For instance, the clients that we're talking about that are in escrow right now, they are military. So they're transferring jobs from
Bases,
Joshua
yeah.
Tree, which is another one of my sub-markets. I actually have sold
Okay,
a lot out
awesome.
in Joshua Tree, and I own out there as well.
Love that.
But then they're moving to Temecula because they're getting restationed at Pendleton. And they knew when this was going to happen back in October.
Okay.
So we've been planning since October. Then we have another listing coming up in December of this year. She needs to sell by January 1st because she's going active duty, same neighborhood.
So that is nice. Yeah, they already have
plans.
their game plan. Yeah.
Yes, and so
I love
I'm
that,
having
and I love
more
it.
clients
All
like
of your
that.
clients sound very organized. So
Organized, yes. Well,
that's amazing. I'm like,
lately, yes. and so and then I've been making offer with 2 or 3 clients, offers every month, sometimes weekly, since December of last year. And so we're just not being particular about not getting attached to any one property. Continuing to make offers. Like I said, being patient and acting fast is my motto for this year. Planning, patience, and then acting when the time is right. You know. So.
And what is the difference, or since you're in like Beverly Hills a lot, so that's mainly where you've been, but you're also now kind of maybe planting a little more in Long Beach. Are you kind of seeing the same thing?
So, Long Beach and Beverly Hills are very different markets, and I've sold in both. But Long Beach is I believe is probably a much more active market right now. Which we have a very affordable beach city in Long Beach. It's actually seems to be a lot cleaner than Venice and Santa Monica these days. I have a lot of LA and West Side transplants coming down to the Long Beach area right now. It's perfect for an active lifestyle. So you have a lot of people moving for the beachfront properties. We have more beachfront condos than anywhere else on the West Coast.
Wow.
So, that's a big deal. Which also gives you more affordability, because instead of it being all these single family homes along the coastline, we have large condo complexes on the beach. And so we have affordability. Food can be a little bit more affordable in Long Beach. I got a Taco Tuesday that I hit up that's open on Fridays and Tuesdays that, $175 tacos, $175 beers, right? So when I say $1.70, I mean $1.75, not a.
We wouldn't even know. These days we're like, makes sense.
Yes.
$175 for a beer. Okay.
Right? It's crazy these days.
Doesn't even faze us anymore at this point. Sounds about right.
But it's a wonderful city. National Weather Service regularly rates us the best weather in the country. We have weather year-round between 70 and 79 degrees. And it's always sunny. We have some of the most sunny days. I think that the year before last, we had 340 days of sun.
Just all sun?
Well, not all sun. No. So we might have some rain in the morning on some of those days.
Gloomy.
But But like today, it started out a little overcast, but
know,
the sun is out and there are no clouds in the sky once we headed over here to Orange County. So
yeah.
it's very cool.
I'm pretty close. I think I'm a couple down, but I'm in Huntington.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I think we have very similar weather.
Yeah. So that one, but definitely more gloomier than the others. Like, I feel like Huntington, it's like always.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like,
I guess I only go out there on days that
when
it's sunny.
Yeah. And all right. So still kind of, I can see that with like the affordability in Long Beach. I feel like that's kind of always been next to mine. Like in Huntington, you start to get a little more when you're going, even like Santa Monica, I feel like those other beaches in LA.
Very much
Long
more
Beach
expensive.
is, yeah.
Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach,
Yeah.
very, expensive areas. So we see a lot of people coming to Long Beach for affordability and
100%,
lifestyle.
yeah.
And lifestyle.
And it's perfect. And honestly, everyone I've ever talked to, I worked with like a lot of people in the bar. I used to work in the bar industry for a long time, but a lot of like the crews would live in Long Beach, and everybody would always rave about it.
It's
like
wonderful.
They just love it, like the chill, the vibe, probably a little cheaper. I feel like that's how I kind of am with Huntington too.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to get dressed up and
everywhere.
go. Yeah.
I don't. I sometimes
there's no
I'll go
rules over there. Like you could
driving.
I could go anywhere, however, you know. And that's where it's like once you kind of start going to the other ones, it's almost like you got to behave a little differently. And
That's
I
true.
feel like Huntington and Long Beach are still like
have a
just
very chill vibe.
Chill, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Just chill vibe, like just come as you are, man. Like,
And believe
whatever
it-
that means, we accept you.
And a major misconception that people have is that living in Long Beach, it takes you longer to get places.
Yeah.
And in
Yeah,
my
there's a lot of
experience, that's
freeways,
not
right?
true. When I first moved to LA, I'm from the Bay Area originally.
Yeah.
And I moved to Los Angeles February 15th of 2009.
Okay.
And I spent the first half of my time down here in Hollywood and Beverly Hills and a brief stint in Westwood before I moved to Long Beach. And I have an easier time getting from Long Beach to downtown LA or Long Beach to LAX or Long Beach to anywhere because where I live in downtown, it's easy access to the freeway.
Yeah.
It doesn't take you more than 5 minutes to get on the freeway, and I can get to anywhere really quick. Where when I was living in Hollywood and Beverly Hills and I had to get on Sunset to then try and get to the freeway, it could take me an hour to hour plus just to get to the freeway and then to get to downtown on the 101 when it's packed and it's just a few lanes compared to the 405. Since they widened the 405, it's been a lot better, which they did quite a few years back now,
I'm like
right?
that.
Yeah. But now it's just so much easier to get places since I moved to Long Beach. And it was not something that I thought would be the case when I moved there, because when you live in Hollywood and or on the west side, you think that moving to Long Beach would mean it will take you longer. And it's just so congested up there that it just takes you forever just to go 4 or 5 miles up there. You know?
I don't really leave my bubble very often. If I do, I go the other way, like San Diego.
Yeah.
But like if I'm going to LA, like I'm flying out of the country. Because even at this point, I'll pay extra and fly out of the other one.
John Wayne?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The smaller one. If they got one, it's a little extra. I'll usually try to do as much as I can to not really go into it.
Yeah.
Of course, I did just do a really big event in Beverly Hills. That was
Really?
That was probably one of that was definitely in like the top. It was great event, but that was probably in the top 5.
What event was it?
I believe the Office Club.
The Office Club. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't have like an actual badge. I kind of, hey, you do what you got to do. That was one of the ones where I just kind of like had a lanyard. Shouldn't have really been there, but it was good. It was really good. So
that
was
networking for
okay. But it's like a club. Like you have to pay for a membership to you don't just get to go to those events. Like they're in they have events all over, so it's a bunch of different members of there going to all the different events.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah, but somehow, like, I knew someone, and then they're like, yeah, just come anyways, and then but it was it was definitely
Sounds
good.
pretty
So,
exclusive.
yeah.
That sounds exclusive.
I may have snuck in a
Beverly
little
Hills
bit.
can be.
Yeah. Whatever. Nobody kicked me out. I was like, I don't think they're gonna tell me anything, so just walked it like I belong there. And so that one, that was the last time that I've been to Beverly Hills. That was, but it was pretty good. And let's see, so basically we have been waiting for these rates to lower, and they have not yet. Kind of really, I mean, they did in January, but now we're kind of back up to where we were. So, but we're getting into summer. So summer is still huge. A great time for you guys. I know you do have your clients that already, more organized. But for your sellers, how are you kind of guiding them? Like if they're, as when to buy or when to sell, like sell and buy, because technically they're going to be a buyer as well. So how do you kind of guide your clients in this time of the season, or really 2024?
We focus on being informed and keeping everybody informed and keeping up to date, and not really focusing on telling them when is a good time, but keeping them informed on where the market is and letting them choose when the right time is for them, and just being there as an expert at all times. I stay in touch with people that I know are not going to be buying or selling right now, but I'm in constant contact with them, probably weekly, letting them know where the market is, calling about something else, then talking about the market, because it always comes up. When you work in real estate, you don't have to bring up real estate. The conversation always evolves into real estate pretty much. So it's just really keeping people informed and planning and being very strategic about what they're looking to do, and then executing when the time is right. But I really would say that I give my clients the tools to know when the right time is for them, instead of trying to tell them that it's the right time for them to buy or sell. I am here to show them what's available, what opportunities exist in the market, how you can actually take advantage of this market, because there are ways to take advantage of this market right now. There are deals out there,
tell us,
right? Yes. And then working with a lender that has different financing options, and that's where you come in.
2-1 buy down. That's what I'm pitching right now.
And I mean, just anything. Even I personally don't recommend any type of different loans. I leave that up to the the loan specialists. I stick to my lane.
That's how I
right. But referring my clients to a good loan officer such as yourself to give them the tools that they can use for this time, and where interest rates are now. They won't be this high forever.
No.
And so, and I don't just tell my clients or try to predict when things are going to get better, when interest rates will get better. I just use historical data. Interest rates will eventually go down, and prices, even if we have, a crisis, which I don't necessarily foresee in this market, but hypothetically, prices always still go up. Right? They might go down a little bit, but they're always going up. Yes. Historically, I know people in Long Beach that bought their homes in the 1970s for $7,000, $8,000, and they are now selling them for over $800,000.
Yeah.
Right? So if you look at real estate investing in those terms, it's always a good time to buy.
Love that.
Right?
Yes. And you mentioned earlier, what are some advantages right now?
Well, it depends on what type of properties you're looking for. But say you're looking for multifamily units. Multifamily units, especially in certain areas of LA, are hard to sell right now. So as a buyer, you can come in and you have multifamily sitting on the market for 100 plus days all over the place.
Yep.
There's a lot on the market. If you're going to move into the property, even better, because you can relocate the tenants if it's going to be owner occupied, right? Or if you're going to have a family member move into the property, then you can also relocate the tenants. Relocating the tenants is probably one of the main reasons why the properties are sitting on the market. But if you're savvy and willing to, do cash for keys or have different ways to operate, there are definitely some deals out there. Same thing with Long Beach, multifamily, buying a multifamily. There are lots of opportunities on the market. I will say that single family homes in certain areas, if they're turnkey, they're still going like that.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. I've been working with a couple of clients, like I said, since December. They're looking for a very specific type of home. And, we're in multiple offers. Every single time we make an offer, we're in a multiple offer situation. So
are these multi or
these
single
are just
family?
single families, and so I currently have a gentleman who's looking to sell his condo in Long Beach, and then he's looking to move to like La Palma. Did I say that right?
La Palma?
Yeah. Okay.
I think it is.
You can see that I don't sell there a lot, but in Cyprus, he's looking in that area, and he has a very specific type of home he likes, and every time we make an offer, we're competing against 5 or 6 offers, and it's just and he's very he knows exactly what he wants. So we're not making offers every week. We might be making a couple offers every month or something like that. And we're being very strategic about it, right? And he's not as affected by interest rates too. I've also transitioned. Some of the people I'm working with might be a little bit different than the people I was working with 2 years ago, right? And they're not as affected by the interest rates. And it's just, like you said, last year was planting seeds, and then this year, a lot of things, there's a lot of business going on. Yeah. It's just, you have to work a lot harder at it, and you have to be a lot more knowledgeable. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. But, ultimately it also puts a lot more quality out there too, for both sides, because then, even for the clients that find like a realtor or loan officer that pushed through, the past 2 years, like, they're
savvy.
They're in it. They're in it to win it. They're like, okay. Especially if you look at their business and things that they have built, or, programs, coaching programs, or just the extra mile that they went to, grow their business in a sense. So I definitely, in tough times like that, it definitely does highlight that hard work, or kind of just highlights quality, and so I definitely, there's always some, to show. Well, I can't think of what the phrase would be, but basically I still think that was one positive thing that came out of, a challenging year. And then also too, it kind of took out, if clients weren't really interested, or, with the higher rates and the higher values, that also could have put more people maybe kind of waiting for a bit, and maybe not actively, kind of like, oh, maybe. It's more like the people that are out now are certain, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Like, nope, I'm in it to win it. Like, this has been a hard year, but so I think it's kind of on both sides.
Yeah.
And client and realtor. Like, if we're in it together. Yes, we're going to make it happen.
Yes.
So I feel like also in that sense, like a step up of quality to where it's like, okay, they're also educating themselves. We're educating, and now we're like a team, and we're going to make this happen. We don't know when, but it's going to. And then also for, what about seller credits right now? Because you also have two different markets.
So, seller credits, it really depends on how much, because a lot of times sellers are offering $10,000, and what's $10,000 going to do in this market?
On like over $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know, that might cover the buyers all their closing costs.
Not even that. I've been using it. Actually, I do have one kind of priced out, but it's for a $1.2 million home. It would cost $10,000 from the seller, like, so seller credits, but then we can do like a temporary rate buy down. So that first year they would have a whole point lower. Yeah. So that's where if you're like, why are these loan officers always telling my clients to get seller credits? It's because we do have a program where we can
use seller credits for the
that's the caveat. It all has to come from the seller. So it can't be split. It can't be like, oh, we got 10 grand. Like if that temporary buy down costs 12 or 14 and they're only giving 10 and we can't get them to budge, then we can't do that program. And then you can't do that.
It is. So I actually, just put in some offers in on this weekend on a place that has seller credit of $10,000.
Yeah.
And that probably would have been a good strategy to go with it. We did end up getting beat out on the offer, and the house is now pending. But that's good to know. Honestly, I really, like I said, I kind of stay in my lane.
Yeah.
So I don't get too much into financing. Also, I would say I don't have a lot of first-time buyer clients right now. I'm mainly working with people that are on their third or fourth transaction. Even if even if they're not investors, they've bought and sold several times, and they're in a place where they can qualify for the loan without these things, and their incomes meet the requirements. So right now, most of the buyers and sellers that are then buying that I'm working with are they are well positioned to take advantage of this market, where a lot of the people that are first time buyers that I was working with last year, we stay in contact. We're still strategizing. We might make an offer here or there, but they've kind of gone to the sidelines for now, and we keep updated every other week. I stay in touch with everybody, but it's they might need a more favorable market before they can jump back in, which is unfortunate, but it's just the reality of where we're at right now.
Yeah. I always try to, like, if you can now, but just like what you were saying before with the appreciation. So that's why we're trying to, like, educate that, yes, it's like any goal, really. If you're trying to reach it, if you're trying to reach a goal in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, learn something new, whatever it may be, you may have to sacrifice.
Yes.
In order to get there. So if you're trying to hit a goal weight, or if you're going to have to, exercise different, eat different, do something different to get you to reach that goal. So ultimately, I try, if I have people, sometimes on the sidelines, it's like try to kind of break that down on the money side. Yeah. Like, I know it might be tough for 3-6 months, maybe even a year, but then after that, like, once they do start going up, the rates start going down, and now
Yeah.
you've doubled your investment in just a couple of years. So, so that's
Have
definitely.
you worked with the California Dream?
The Dream for All?
Yeah, the Dream for All.
We do work with a lender that does them. Me personally, I don't really push them per se.
Okay. So have you heard of the LIPA and MIPA program out of LA, Los Angeles?
I do. Is it like a down payment assistance?
Yeah, so
They all have like a names and
So LIPA is low income, and
Yep.
then MIPA is middle. And I've actually had 2 clients use those to lower their monthly costs. One of my clients, she got $110,000 from the city of LA, which
Wow.
was really great.
Okay.
It was the easiest process ever. The person for LIPA came and inspected the condo before the appraiser, but the appraiser was there in 4 days.
Wow.
We had it all cleared for the money within a week and a half, and we were able to move forward with the transaction.
Wow.
And it actually closed in 30 days. It was incredible.
And it's from LA?
So LA, yeah. So LA has offered it forever.
There you go.
It's year round, and the money doesn't run out. You have to make under.
That sounds amazing.
Isn't it amazing? It's up to $160,000 now that they'll give you. And then MIPA is the same thing, but it's for moderate income. So with MIPA, you're allowed to make over $100,000. You still can get the same amount of money, but they release the money in, I believe, June of each year for MIPA, and it usually runs out by the end of the year. Where LIPA is unlimited funds. It's always available if you meet, and all it is an income requirement and a first-time buyer requirement.
Yeah.
And so it is a really good way to get in right now. And I see like that a type of money, like over $100,000, that makes a lot bigger difference for a first-time buyer, than some of these other things that are being offered right now.
Wow.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that does sound kind of magical.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Magical.
different like down payment assistance. So really, and to qualify for them is usually a little trickier, for people to actually qualify within. Each one has its own
And I
requirements.
know the Dream for All was almost impossible to get. There was such a waiting list, and most lenders that I've talked to didn't even touch it. Really,
No,
because it
well,
was too
'cause
tough. Where this
it's
LIPA
also
program's a little different.
Yeah, it's also Dream for All. You're giving. It's not a down payment assistance. You're giving away a piece of your equity.
Well,
So
that's the
that
same with
is
LIPA.
okay.
is the
So
same.
those are different. So it is when you sell that thing and you can't refinance. So there are things with it. So usually when it comes to these certain cases, it's like if you can come up with like the 3.5%, maybe the 3%, 5%, most of the standard programs, if you can come up with that, we do recommend maybe even if you wait another month or 2 months or 3 months. But yes, these are available, but at the same time, I just walk them through and make sure they know, because you won't be able to refinance it regularly, if you own the whole thing. So down the line, so you might be in this higher rate for longer. And then when you sell it, you're paying them back the money plus a percentage of equity. So that is not a regular down payment assistance.
So with LIPA, you have to have 1.5% going into it, which is lower than some of the other ones.
I think the Cal that might have been 20%. I don't know.
Wow.
It was higher.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
You're saying with how you if you want to refinance, so with the LIPA program, you then have to have an appraisal, and you have to refinance and give the city back their money.
Then?
Right, as during the refinance. So you have to refinance out of it, right? You can refinance out of it.
Well, I mean, then that would be better.
There has to be an appraisal, so they still get their equity, any equity gains.
Yeah. Well, that would be better than to appraise it earlier. to do the refinance.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a horrible situation.
Yeah.
It's good
it's really
for people
good.
that need to use it,
Yeah.
right? But somebody that wants to keep all that equity and has the means to go into it without using it, then may not be the right program for
That's
you,
amazing.
right?
No, absolutely. There's so many different programs, and every situation, just like, I mean, you're a realtor, like every house, every seller, every single situation is different. But at this point, like there's a way. There's a way out there.
Yes.
Whichever way that you need, there is a way. It's already been discovered. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to figure out where you are, what you need, and then get you in the right place. So I feel like at least, that's
and having people talk to you and work with the loan officer early and having you help them get their finances in line prior to being ready to buy is like major key right now. It makes all the difference. If you're thinking about buying 6 months from now, they need to be in touch with you now, planning for 6 months from now, because then you can help them get everything together and be ready for that purchase. And
final question here, which you already just kind of gave some advice, but basically, what is your advice to potential to our buyers, sellers, kind of continuing on the end of this year?
So for buyers, if you haven't got in touch with a loan officer, that is the very first thing you need to do, is get in touch with a loan officer, Tiffany here, and make sure that your finances are in order and take the time. It might take you 6 months to get your credit where it wants to be, where you want it to be, or things like this. And Tiffany can help you navigate that. For sellers, strategic planning it's also very important. It's just strategic planning. The more time you can give us to tease out the market and position your property for a quick sell, the better. Call me 6 months in advance, right now, and we can sell your house in a week when you're ready.
Wow.
Adam Ames, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. If this was helpful, if you want to get in contact with Adam, I will have all of his information below. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.